And welcome back to the action this afternoon. This is the second round of men's 5Ks. And the first pair is off already. In the inner lane, it's Alexander Zamojski from the United States. And in the outer lane, it's Antoine from Quebec. So again, this is a 5,000 meter race, meaning 12 and a half laps around the pack, around the track.
Alexander with a little bit of a more competitive 5K time than Antoine. So this is a great opportunity for Antoine to lay down a solid time and to really race his pair a little bit. Skate his own race, but he's going to be challenged by these lap times.
Here they come through. Let's see what their first lap time is. It is a 31.88 and a 32.28 for Antoine Rager. In the second pair of this quad, in the yellow armband, we have Cameron Mason. He's from Ontario. And in the blue armband, it's Joshua Hathaway from Alberta. And they are coming around with lap times of 33.4 and 34.0 respectively.
Roger keeping on his own pace, very respectable, excuse me. He's going to have to make sure he's maintaining his own technical goals and his own tactical goals without getting too ahead of himself with Zamojski. Looking very relaxed down this straight, settling into a nice pace. Obviously, both of these skaters are working the corners to build and maintain that speed on the straights.
Look for Antoine Rager to aim for mid 33-second laps. That would put him in and around his personal best. Here come Cameron Mason and Joshua Hathaway. They have 9 laps to go. And they are quite close, 33.9 and 33.6. Roger starting strong, 32.3.
Roger and Zamojski, both only 20 years old, or both born in 1996, shall I say. Very young and bright future for both of these skaters.
And we see our second pair. They're holding on to those 33-second laps. Tight race, it seems like.
Getting a little bit of a draft, that's something you don't want to ever pass up in a 5,000 meter. Entering into the corners nice and deep. That's a simple tactical thing that people often overlook. How you enter and exit the corners can kill you. Zamojski getting an opportunity to chase his quartet a little bit. That'll probably give him a little bit more life, a little bit of a pep in his step. It's always nice to have a target or a rabbit to chase, essentially.
And he's holding on to those 32-second laps.
All 4 skaters are coming down the same straightaway. This is what can happen in quartets. They can get very exciting, a little bit crazy.
Now let's see Cameron Mason swinging an arm already at the midpoint of this race. For some skaters, that really works. Now Zamojski is now ahead of Cameron Mason. He's going to come around with a very competitive low 33-second lap. And Joshua Hathaway and Cameron Mason pulling 34 and 36-second laps. So they're slowing down a little bit. Hopefully they can settle in at this pace.
Zamojski still seeming to be quite relaxed, going to the side, using his body weight quite well. Still has a good cadence in the corners, going to build out from this outer lane quite strongly.
And Antoine Roger dropping a little bit in lap times to a 34.1.
On a pretty consistent pace here. Both young skaters have a lot to learn, and physiologically, it'll take years when you're a 5K skater to kind of hit that peak. So, bright future.
Now, little hints to watch for to see if a skater is starting to get tired. You can look to see their knee angle. If the knee angle is starting to come up and they're starting to stand up a little bit more, it means that their legs are losing a bit of strength, and they're not able to hold that low aerodynamic position quite as well.
I struggle. People struggle to hold that low aerodynamic position even in 500 and 1,000 meters. So for them to be at 4,200 meters right now, they're going well. This is a good pace. Their legs are screaming with lactic acid.
And 1 lap left for Zamojski. He's still in the low threes. This is a solid race for him. This is a difficult sport, especially these long-distance races. Now, see Zamojski come down to the finish. He's going to give it everything here. And there's still 1 lap left for Joshua Hathaway.
Zamojski crosses in 6:53.35, and Roger fighting.
And Roger finishes in 7:01. That is a PB for both Alexander Zamojski and Antoine Roger. Zamojski by just a split second and Roger by almost 7 seconds.
Mason and Hathaway finishing up.
Don't forget, they were in a second pair. And now Cameron Mason stretching for the line. And it's a 6:56. Or sorry, 7:10. My mistake. And with a 7:10, that is a personal best for Joshua Hathaway. Congratulations. And Cameron Mason pulling off his hood as he crosses the line.
That's a rough one, and many skaters have felt that way from time to time, obviously.
But props for finishing. So in our first quartet of the second group of 5Ks, 3 PBs. The ice might be getting a little bit faster as we get into the afternoon here. Now, in our second quartet of this afternoon, we have on the inner lane of the first pair, Connor Howe. He has a PB of 7:11.61, and he's from Alberta. In the outer lane, it's Jean-Christophe Lataille, who is also from Alberta, with a PB of 7:15.98.
JC is so fun to watch because he's young and he's eager, and he's just a pleasure to be around. He's got a great positive attitude, and he technically skates really well. So it's just fun to watch his progression throughout the season, and I think he has a really nice, bright future.
And it looks like in this second pair of the quad, we have a solo skater. That is Jean-Christophe Pouliot. He's from Quebec, and his PB is 7:15.15. So these skaters with PBs of 7:15, look for them to attempt to skate faster than 34.5 seconds average lap times. So if they're hanging out in the 33s, that's a really good thing.
Both skaters starting a little bit strong, 32.8. That's not the most conservative start for someone or for skaters that are looking to break the 7:15 mark, but it's also a tactic to bank a little bit of time. So they're really just going to look to settle into a good rhythm right now, build their corners and relax their straightaways, maintain that speed.
And Connor Howe coming through lap time of 32:58. Connor Howe, can you believe it, is born in the year 2000, meaning he is 16 years old.
The year 2000 had some great music. I really did love the Spice Girls. So, Connor, do us proud because you're making us feel very old right now.
He's looking strong as well, coming through 33:04, still a very competitive lap time. And Jean-Christophe Lataille with a 33:57, keeping pace. And here's our solo skater, Pouliot. And his lap time is 33:03, so a tight race overall throughout this whole quad.
Nice and consistent for Pouliot. And like we said before, skating alone can be a blessing and a curse, but Pouliot really just needs to race his own race right now. His tactical and technical goals will make or break this time.
He's looking strong so far, nice and focused.
Exiting those corners nice and deep.
That's a really important thing in the 5K. You really want to build the corners and then maintain your speed on the straightaways to try and save as much energy as possible. So really watch their crossovers coming out of the corners and see whether they're picking up a bit of speed.
Connor looking very relaxed down this front stretch. JC also, oh, that was a little bit of an early corner entry. He's going to have to build out to maintain that speed, but nice tempo in the corner and relaxing the straight so far, boys.
One of the challenges with the 5K is regulating your breathing while trying to focus on your technique. If you focus too much on the technique, the breathing can get off, and you can actually run out of energy, and you don't get enough oxygen to your muscles.
I'm really good at doing that. JC, though, maintaining good focus. Here's Pouliot. Nice tempo out of the corners. He's doing a really good job of getting that extra crossover, and that's gonna save him in the long run.
So let's see if JC is able to pick up this lap time here. 34.5 was a bit of a slip. So watch for him to try and build this inner.
They did bank a little bit of time at the beginning of the race, but we will have to see if it was enough. With 5 laps to go, anything can happen.
And
That's a long time.
And here comes Connor Howe with the 33.4. He's still holding it in the low 33s. That is really good for him. That will be, he'll be close to his PB if he can keep this up.
For 16 years old, that is a very strong showing. Like I've said, what's happening in the men's 5K right now in Canada is very exciting, and JC has a lot of potential to be right up there with those boys.
Here comes Connor Howe, the youngster. And 33.7, that's a bit of a positive split. And that is with 4 laps to go, so he's going to have to really build his corners here, stay low, and focus on his technique so he doesn't let any more time slip away. And here comes Pouliot.
Still under 35. Gregor, his coach, obviously looking very excited. There's a lot of fight in Pouliot, especially skating alone. He's doing a wonderful job of regulating the things that he has under control.
And now we can see Pouliot is entering the last corner here, his coach yelling him on. And he's going to cross with a 35.3, so he's still holding on. And Connor Howe starting to look a little tired. His shoulders are moving.
Still maintaining good speed, though, 4.2. He's really impressed me throughout this entire race, just being very mature with what he's working on.
And the hand on the knee there from Pouliot.
Good fight.
This is traditionally an inline technique to use your hands to push your legs. Some skaters can go faster with it, and with other skaters, it's an indication that the wheels are coming off. So we'll see how Pouliot finishes up. And Connor Howe, 1 lap to go, 34.7.
Connor Howe keeping a very consistent race.
He's on pace for a PB here if he keeps it up.
16 years old, bright, bright future. JC coming back a little bit, showing a lot of character, a lot of fight.
Pouliot gritting his teeth, 1 lap to go. 2 arms in the corner for Connor Howe as he comes down the last straightaway, swinging both arms, sprinting to the line, giving it all. And he'll finish with a time of 7:03.50. That is a personal best.
Big personal best. That's a wonderful time for a 16-year-old. 7:13 for JC Lataille.
JC Lataille, that is a PB as well. His old mark was 7:15.98. So almost 3 seconds. And then Pouliot will finish with a 7:09.26. Another PB. 3 skaters, 3 PBs in the second quad. So we're at 6 for 7 so far this afternoon. Things are heating up. And we have another race underway. In the inner lane from Manitoba, we have Simon Koots. You can look at his bright yellow suit. In the outer lane, in the blue suit, it is Vincent Bertrand from Quebec. In the second pair of this quad, with the yellow armband, it's Robert Winter. He is from Alberta. And Adam Szkraba from Ontario. So both pairs underway here this afternoon. Now Simon Koots' PB is a 7:16.29. So look for him to be around 34 seconds a lap in order to equal or better his PB. And coming through the line here, it's it's Robert Winter. He started with a lap time of 33:16. Szkraba is at 33:91. So all the skaters now at the early stages of this race are trying to conserve energy. The term we use in skating is easy speed, which means that you're technically solid, getting lots of glide, maintaining your speed, not giving anything away unnecessarily. Because any kind of energy you use up at the beginning, you pay for it at the end. You empty your tank at the beginning, and you can run out of gas in the last few laps.
And one of those easy ways, obviously, to maintain that easy speed is to have one foot on the ice at all times. When people are two-footing, that's very inefficient. There's more friction. So the best skaters, people like Sven Kramer, Jeremy Weatherspoon, it's mechanical, it's robotic, it's beautiful in a sense because it's just so efficient. It's very difficult to do as well.
Mm-hmm. So Koots with a 33:36. That is a very competitive lap time for him. If he maintains this speed, it will be underneath his PB. Same thing for Bertrand. Bertrand's PB is a 7:48.77. So expect him to smash that mark here today.
All skaters very consistent. 33 mark. Winter with a little bit of a negative split down to 2-4. But all in all, very consistent. That's a tough thing to master, especially for the younger skaters.
My favorite thing about watching 5,000 meters is to see whether anyone goes out too fast. So in a sense, the skaters are gambling a little bit. They're going out assuming that they'll be strong enough to finish around the same pace. And this is Koots coming through, 33.50, still solidly in those 33-second laps. Very good split for him.
It's very, very consistent quad.
Nice spacing. Robert Winters coming through, 33.4, right on pace with Koots. And then Szkraba with a 34.12. It's a really tight race here between the different pairs. So look at that split time from Koots. That was a 4:15.56. Let's see where Robert Winter is when he comes through. And Robert Winter with a 4:13. So he's about 2 seconds ahead right here at this point in the race. And Szkraba is right on pace with Bertrand.
Bertrand exiting the corners well, maintaining speed. He's still using his body weight to maintain that speed that he's building in the corners.
And with 4 laps to go, this is really the crux of the race. When I race my 5,000 meters, I like to split each race up into 3 sections. The first 4, I would try and get easy speed and be relaxed. The second section of the race, I would try and build the corners and maintain my speed. And then the last 4 was when you really had to grit your teeth and give everything. And that's the stage they're at right now with 3 laps to go. And it's Simon Koots, 35.36. He's letting that lap time slip a little bit. He's got to keep up his tempo. And Bertrand, 36.30. So again, slowing down a little bit.
Robert Winter, very consistent throughout this entire race. Very mature pacing. He's racing his own race. I think he's on track for a good one here.
And Szkraba, we saw down that last straightaway, he looked like he was in a world of hurt. 3 laps to go.
It's hard to quantify how much lactic these boys are feeling right now. Speed skating is a very hard sport that balances cardio and anaerobic strength. At the end of a 5K, I mean, we can see it here. The legs are seizing up. The hands have dropped. It's absolutely debilitating.
And Szkraba with a 37.15. Here's the bell lap for Simon Koots. He's coming through, 35.23. Let's see how well he can finish. He's looking strong. Vincent Bertrand is going to come through. Lap time of 37.22. He's letting it slip a little bit. And Robert Winter catching up to Vincent Bertrand. He's on a solid race, 34.6.
Robert Winter has impressed me this entire race. He just came out here with simple goals, and he's really stuck to them. Good for him.
And 1 lap to go for Szkraba. It's a tough one. And here comes Simon Koots pushing to the line. And he finishes with a 7:11.81, which is a personal best for Simon Koots. And here comes Bertrand.
And Robert Winter finished in 7:05.58. Great race for him.
Very solid race for Robert Winter. He held it together right to the end. And here comes Szkraba. This is a tough finish. He's going to be happy to cross this line. Hopefully he can stay on his feet. That was a 7:24.33. Still only 2 seconds off his personal best. So yet another quad and 3 PBs in that grouping. The PBs are flying left and right here this afternoon. Skaters will be collecting their prize from the organizing committee, which this year I believe are little penguins, which is the Olympic Oval mascot. Okay, so we have another race starting here. In the inner lane, we have Jelle Schut. He's from the Netherlands. And in the outer lane, it's Matthew Laxton. Actually, Jelle Schut did not start the race, so Laxton is racing on his own in a solo pair in this quad. In the second pair of the quad, we have Cooper Emin. He's from Nova Scotia, and Max Halyk from Alberta.
Max Halyk's personal best is 7 minutes 29:51. So he has a real opportunity to better that. He made that PB in early January of this year, and it's unbelievable how fast speed skating can change. So with 2 extra months of training and skating under his belt, I think he has a great opportunity to lay down a solid time.
He is yet another young teenager here, and it'll be great to see what he can do because the ice is quick and he has a good pair. So in this solo pair, the first pair of this quad, we have Matthew Laxton. He's going to come through with a lap time of 34:17. That's with 10 laps to go. Emin and Halyk neck and neck here at the start of the race, both trying to skate nice and relaxed, try and set the pace, lay the foundation for the end of the race.
They definitely have started a little bit aggressively. That's, to start in the 32s when your PB is a 7:29, they are far ahead of their personal best. So we will have to watch them, carry that speed. Obviously, you don't want to slow down too much. They really need to focus on their technique right now and find that easy speed that Leo was describing a few races ago.
Anastasia, I'd love to see this. Skaters who go out faster than their PB, with a little bit of ambition, and hopefully it pays off in a big way for them by the end of the race.
Oh, most definitely. I think that's why we love Oval Finale, because it is obviously the last big competition of the season, and the ice is always fast. So it's fun to see these kids put their heart on the ice. That's why we love sport.
So it's Emin and Halyk coming through. They have 8 laps to go, so this is the 1/3 of the race down here. Both settling into a mid-33-second lap pace. It is Emin with a little bit of an advantage. And Laxton coming through.
Laxton using his body weight quite well, riding his blades nice. He's doing a very good job of maintaining that speed on the straightaways and building the corners.
34.99, fairly consistent so far for Matthew Laxton. He'll want to keep this up.
Emin and Halyk, this seems to be a great pair.
Hopefully they can work together and push each other. Still under 34 seconds. Great splits for those two.
Laxton skating his own race. That's exactly what you need to do when you don't have a pair. Hopefully, with a good focus on his technical goals, he's maintaining quite a flat race up until this point.
Here come those gentlemen. Now Max Halyk will want to keep that arm on his back. As that arm comes off, he's wasting energy putting, having it hanging down there and trying to hold it there.
The best skaters make this look effortless because nothing that shouldn't be moving is moving. You want to move as one. And when we say that they're using their body weight efficiently, it means essentially that they're pushing their body from their feet rather than vice versa. You don't want to feel as though you're pushing your feet away from your body. You're moving as one. And that's kind of the first thing that starts to go when you get fatigued in these longer races.
These gentlemen still neck and neck, both into the 34-second laps. Good battle here. Now, Matthew Laxton skating on his own, still looking nice and relaxed. Let's see how his lap time is. 35.3. He's keeping pace. And these two neck and neck.
Emin keeping it under 35. This is actually quite impressive. They started fast. I was a little worried they might be in a world of hurt. But really maintaining that speed, well, this is quite a flat race.
Matthew Laxton dropping an arm there. He is getting near the end.
With 2 laps to go, I am pleasantly surprised by how these boys have maintained their technical goals.
And it looks like Emin was taking a little bit of a lead there. He's going to get a draft on this backstretch. Let's see whether Max Halyk has an answer. Matthew Laxton looking strong.
Really maintaining that efficiency up. We can see these boys getting a little bit more tired. Obviously, their lean in the corner is not as sharp as it could be.
Cooper Emin pulling away. That's a 35-2. 36-2 for Max Halyk. So Max Halyk lost a second on that lap. Let's see if he can turn it around. And Matthew Laxton swinging an arm. He's still got that good arm drive.
Brock Myron, their coach on the backstretch, looking very excited. This is a great fight from these boys.
Matthew Laxton negative split with 1 lap to go. This is a great race for him. And 1 lap to go for the yellow and blue pair.
Cooper is keeping it together. I'm very impressed. Young skater from Alberta. Really just having a great race. And
great heart here from Matthew Laxton. He is looking really strong into the line. And he'll finish with a final time of 7:16.10.
And excuse me, Cooper is from Nova Scotia. That was my mistake.
And Matthew Laxton with a 7:16.10. That is an 8-second PB. Congratulations, Matt.
This is a fantastic race. He just almost got a 10-second personal best. Good race, boys.
Cooper Emin, that was a tough battle, and he came out on top. But both he and Max Halyk finish ahead of their old personal bests. So yet again, new personal bests all afternoon. It's what we want to see. Anastasia, don't you wish you were still a junior and you could set up to 10-second PBs?
Let me tell you about my junior experience. When I was a junior, we still had to skate a 3K, and the last 3K I skated was at junior trials, and every coach came up and shook my hand and said, "Congratulations, you never have to skate a 3K again." Honestly, it's a claim to fame. I have never skated a 3K without going over 40 seconds a lap. So That's how you know you're a true 500-meter skater. You know, that's a talent. That's actually a talent to do that. So I'm just in awe of these boys. I think that everyone has really brought their A game, and a lot of fight. There's been some great races this afternoon for these boys 5K, and I think it's a really exciting time for this distance, to tell you the truth, in this country.
You know, I've raced my fair share of 5Ks and 10Ks, and I have so much respect for all these guys who do them, because I know how much it hurts. And any guy who can go out there and finish the race and not give up, it's really great. Plus, if you set a PB, even better.
I don't know how much it hurts, and I never want to know how much it hurts, so I'm just going to do the color commentary. But with that being said, we have Bruno-Olivier Brabant and Tom Kaiser. I'm sorry if I'm saying that name wrong, the last name wrong. I know that he has a lot of fans watching from Holland. So
in the second pair of this quad, we have Caleb Hovey, he's from Ontario, and Jonah Ubertzis from Ontario as well. So an Ontario duel in the yellow and blue pair. Now, Brabant's time is a 7:28.29, so expect him to be chasing after that today. If he skates low 35-second laps, he'll skate a personal best. So watch those lap times as he goes around his race.
Kaiser settling in, 35-0.
And Caleb Hovey, very competitive, 33-35 lap time. So he's starting at a blazing pace here. Jonah Ubertzis just behind him. So these guys from Ontario are starting out nice and strong.
Tom Kaiser, nice and consistent. 35-0, maintaining that. Hovey and Ubertzis, nice. Very consistent lap times. Competitive in the mid-33s. They will most definitely be working their corners and trying to relax their straights.
And coming through here, Tom Kaiser. Lap time of 35:17. So he is on pace for a PB if he continues at this rate. Now our second pair, the duo from Ontario. It is Jonah Ubertzis coming through first with a 33-2 and Caleb Hovey with a 34-1. So both guys still skating strong, maintaining their lap times.
Kaiser keeping a nice tempo on the straights. A nice flat race, keeping it in the low fives. Still in the 33s for Jonah. And a perfectly even lap time. Oh, excuse me, 35-2 for Caleb. So dropping a little bit. It's not rare for people to kind of see a little bit of a change in time dependent upon whether they are in the inner or outer lane. And that really is based upon how you enter the corner and how much you build out. So when you're in that outer lane, as a general rule of thumb, you want to put a little bit extra effort because obviously you're skating a wider track.
You'll often see skaters speed up a little bit when they get an inner lap. And when you're racing a 5K, as you go around, you look forward to these inner laps where you can build some extra speed and get a little bit of a reprieve. And then you dread the outer laps.
Kaiser dropping just a little bit, but he's maintaining his speed. He's exiting the corner still quite well. Oh, our second quartet has caught our first.
And the racers are about 2/3 of the way through their race right now with 4 laps to go and 5 laps to go for the second pair.
Kaiser on the outer. He's going to want to exit nice and deep to try and maintain that. Maybe feeling a little bit fatigued. I would have liked to have seen an extra crossover at that time. But he's still doing quite a good job of getting over in the straights.
And we have a shot of Caleb Hovey.
Brabant seems to be a little bit fatigued right now. Obviously, in the final stages of this race, it's very hard.
And Hurtubise dropping a little bit of time there up to a 36.8. So times are starting to drop off a little bit in this race. These skaters are going to have to stay low and keep their feet moving in order to keep the pace. And a bunch of skaters coming down the line here. And Hurtubise, he's in the lead in this quad. It's a 37.7. So positive split, but he's almost done the race. 2 laps to go when he comes around for the next time. And skating on his own, we have Tom Kaiser. Tom Kaiser holding those 36-second laps with 2 to go. Oh, and he's up into the 37.
This is the time where you really have to just mentally grunt it out. You got to regulate your breathing. Just try and to keep your legs moving in any given way that you can.
We've got a hand on the knees here. What I like to see in skaters as they finish a 5K is, even if it's a really tough one, that they keep their head up, they keep their eyes looking forward, because that means that they're still focused on the goal at the end.
Both hands on the knees. This is definitely not an easy sport, and I have nothing but respect for all of these skaters.
And with 1 lap to go here for most of the skaters.
Hovey's still maintaining 36s.
Yeah, solid finish.
And Brabant has 1 lap to go. Negative split that. And Kaiser, hand on the leg, but he's working still to get over.
Kaiser finishing up. And he'll finish up with a time of 7:32.60, which for him is a personal best. 6 seconds. Here comes Caleb Hovey. Caleb Hovey, 7:24, 6-second PB as well. Congratulations. Here comes Hurtubise, and he'll finish with a 7:32.70.
That's a 13-second PB.
13-second PB. We're seeing some amazing times here today. And Brabant will finish with a time of 8:01. So can you believe it? We're on to the final pair of 5,000 meters for the men. There will be the final quartet of 5,000 meters for the men. There will be an out-of-competition race afterwards, but this is the final race as part of the finale competition. Now, in this race, in the first pair, we have from Alberta, Sam Pollock. He's wearing the white armband. In the outer pair, in the outer lane, we have Garrett Gledhill from Manitoba. He's wearing the red armband. Oh. So, my mistake. This is actually just a pair, not a quartet, and it is Sam Pollock and Frank Roth paired together. Frank Roth with the red armband.
And this is Hamish Black switching over for Anastasia to call this last race in the 2016 Olympic Oval finale, the men's 5,000 meter. And these boys are off to a good start from the looks of things. We have 2 Calgary's own skaters here training in the Olympic Oval Elite Pathway program. You can tell from their matching suits. Both skaters seem to be skating quite nicely. Hopefully there'll be a good match and be able to push each other through this 12.5 lap race.
Here they're coming down the home stretch. They have 10 laps to go, so they're only 2 laps in. They're just getting going. Let's see what lap times they have established. So 33.4 for Sam Pollock, and 35.0 for Frank Roth. Sam Pollock on a very good pace to match his personal best.
So these initial laps are quite important for these racers, making sure that they get onto their lap times, get a real good sense of the rhythm and feel for the ice, and then the goal will be to carry that speed throughout as the lactic begins to build and hopefully be able to maintain their lap times.
So their lap time's actually narrowing here. Sam Pollock slowing down a little bit, and Frank Roth picking it up. So now they're both neck and neck, close race.
So Leo, from the races that you've seen today, it seems like there have been some really big successes. What has sort of been the key for those people who are going to be getting PBs today?
From what I've seen, the key has been keeping their technique as they finish the last few laps. I've seen a few skaters start to put their hands on their knees and start to, move their upper bodies. The successful skaters have really stayed low and kept building their corners.
So that will definitely be something we'll be looking for in Sam and Frank here, how well they're able to maintain their technique. They look like they're doing pretty good so far.
It also seems that they've set a fairly realistic pace here at 34 and 35 seconds a lap.
You can see the coaches there, Brock Mirren, and looks like we've got Jeff Couture on there showing them their lap times. So for those of you who may not be aware, those are the lap times of each lap so that they can see how they're holding their pace, either to stay put or to maybe drive a little deeper and build those corners. They're coming around. Both athletes looking pretty good, and lap times have dropped a little bit, but they're holding on here as they come around to the corner here. Be really important that they maintain and continue to build. You want to make sure that you're building on the corner, carrying speed out onto that straightaway, which then allows you to have a little bit of a relaxation period, as then you prepare for the next build, 100 meters down.
And 3,000 meters through the race, they have split times of 4:28 and 4:25. Those are quite respectable 3K times. That means that they'll be, when they come around here, they'll have 3 laps to go.
And this really is an important part of the race for these skaters. It's kind of where you have to be able to focus in and ignore that lactic pain. You can see it on the skater's face a little bit from Sam there. And really trying to fight against that, to hold that technique and be able to still create pressure. Not an easy task.
That's right. They have to be mentally strong at this point. I had a few 5K races back when I used to skate, when I would see 3 laps to go and I would think, oh, that means there's only a 1,500 left. And then I would think that a 1,500 is really hard.
Right.
And you can't let those thoughts creep into your mind, because you have to stay confident and keep your focus on the skating.
We'll see them here coming down, getting closer. Sam's looks like he's feeling a little bit of lactic, and Frank seems to be able to be doing a good job of reeling him in. Sometimes as a skater, it's nice to have someone ahead of you that you can pace off of, which allows you to get a little bit of a drive to pick up the tempo.
So Frank Roth catching up and going past Sam Pollock here. Let's see if Sam Pollock has an answer.
Be interesting. He does have the inner Sam, but Frank has some really good team coming in this outer. It looks like we're going to have a really nice finish here on the last lap.
They're coming through neck and neck.
You can start to see there's a little bit of movement coming from Sam's shoulders. Frank's holding on quite nicely, and he seems to be really kind of pulling away here.
You can compare the stride lengths as they come down this backstretch. And you can see that Frank Roth is getting much longer strides and therefore much more pressure and speed.
And Frank having a good race, pacing well as he comes around the final corner here. Sam holding on. You can see that lactic fatigue setting in, but still nonetheless putting up a good fight as they finish off this race.
Oh, 1 lap to go now.
I was getting a little ahead of myself there, hoping that they were almost going to be done. So 400 meters left. This is the home stretch. But Frank really is just taking off on this race. He definitely has a lot left in his tank, and he is using it all to explode down the back straight.
Very impressive finish here. He may have been able to start a little bit faster.
Yeah, so now he'll just be giving everything that he has as he comes down to the finish line, looking really strong.
Sprinting to the line.
Almost even looks like his zippers come a little bit undone, but that is not phasing him as he comes across the line.
And he'll finish with a 7:31.59, which is a 19-second PB for Frank Roth.
That is a huge PB, a very successful skate, and it even looked like he had more in the tank. So it'll be exciting, a good way to end a 5K this season. Definitely he'll be coming back to beat that PB again next year.
And Sam Pollock finishing with a 7:44.44, just a few seconds off of his previous mark.
Still a really strong race. I think he really went for it at the beginning there. Again, you kind of have to just go for it in some of these races and try to hold on, and he did a really commendable job.
So that wraps up our 5,000 meters at the Olympic Oval finale this afternoon. Stay tuned for the women's 3K this afternoon.